Unfiltered Romance Nights, the podcast where we dive into romance books, spill spoilers, talk spice, and chat with the voices that bring the book world to life. We are your hosts, Colleen.
And I'm Marjorie. Tonight, we're not just chatting between ourselves. We have the amazing author behind the new release, The Homemaker. Let's give a warm welcome to Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author Joel E. Ann. When she's not saving the planet one tree at a time, you can find her role modeling questionable behaviors for the three boys, binge watching Netflix with her husband, and writing mind-bending romance. Joel, welcome to the Unfiltered Romance Nights podcast, and we are so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get unfiltered with Jewel Ann. First off, congratulations on the release of The Homemaker.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to have it out in the wild for everyone to consume, I guess.
Listen, I loved it.
Oh, thank you.
I loved it. I was dying. We'll get into it, but I just had to tell you thank you for writing it. First of all, I had no idea what a homemaker was. I was like, what is this? What's happening?
Yeah.
But the way it unfolded, my gosh.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think my definition of homemaker for this book, we'll say, not my definition of lifetime homemaker, but for this book and for this story, might seem a little unique to a lot of readers, but it was fun to write nonetheless.
Yeah. So before we dive into your book, we like to kind of start with a few icebreaker questions.
Okay.
So we'll start off with your writing career. Is this something that you did right from the go, or did you fall into it and have another job prior?
Yeah, I probably fell into it like a very large probably group of what you would say indie romance authors who maybe are still indie or hybrid or gone on to be traditionally published. And I was kind of the post 50 Shades of Grey author who decided, oh, maybe I should write a book. And I had a long career as a dental hygienist. I had owned a retail store with my mom, kind of a passion project. I helped run a family business, homeschooled kids for a while. I had a lot of life experience before I decided to write my first book in 2013, and I published it the first part of 2014. So yeah, I call it a midlife crisis. It's well for me to have this sort of midlife crisis. So yeah.
Yeah. You were busy though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot going on, but I regret none of it. I did not know I would take this writing gig this far even. It was just kind of one day I had a friend who said, you should write a book. And I laughed. I'm like, why would I write a book? But even though going into dental hygiene, I went into the sciences post-graduation and in college. In high school, what I enjoyed more than anything was writing in English. And I wasn't necessarily a voracious reader when I was in high school, but I loved creative writing and I loved my English classes. But of course, at the time, it seemed like it would be a dream that I didn't even really have. I didn't even think to dream of being an author. It just seemed like winning the lottery or something like that, because publishers were the gatekeepers to getting your work to readers that many years ago. Not to date myself, but that many years ago. Not that there haven't been indie published authors for a long time, but you didn't have the Amazon Kindles and things like that really allowed everyone to have their work out there. Or I've never written on Wattpad, but that was another gateway for somebody to come into this world. So I'm very grateful for all the, as hard as sometimes people can be on Amazon and you don't know whether you want to support them or not, there's a lot of us authors out there, good, bad, and ugly. Whatever you think of Amazon, there's a lot of us who kind of owe Amazon, credit for helping launch our careers. And I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. I think other, indie authors too can't really, some of them can't get out of Amazon, like the Kindle, the KU kind of thing. So,
Yeah. I mean, you can make a solid living on Amazon if you are an author who never gets a chance. And I've only in the past couple of years here had the chance to work in traditional publishing. But if you never get out of Amazon, at least now still things could change at any point, you can make a career out of it. I mean, I made a career out of being in Kindle Unlimited for years. I mean, and I still have a lot of my books in Kindle Unlimited. It's still the lion's share of my sales right now. So
mhm.
yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know, depend again, I there's no such thing as, probably even with publishers, I'm sure that a dark side to traditional publishing. So there's no like perfect thing. For a lot of us writers, we just want to tell our stories, and there's no perfect way to do it. If you think you're also going, the second that you decide you're going to make a living off of writing books, it's kind of like going into politics. The whole like, to ascend to a certain level, you kind of have to like give up on some of your morals. Like, you can't just be like, I'm not going to support this publisher or Amazon or all of this. I'm probably then not going to be writing for a living. I better go look for another job. So I know a lot of authors have felt that, of like, oh, I feel like I'm selling my soul. I don't feel that way as much anymore, just because I have found readers. And that's kind of, I look at Amazon and I don't look at Amazon like this huge, giant business. I look at all the readers who have Kindle Unlimited, who are reading my books and buying my books and things like that. So yeah, I have probably a little bit different look on it than other people. And that's okay. Everyone kind of takes their own journey in this business.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I would say, finding out new authors was because of Kindle Unlimited. Otherwise, well, I mean, TikTok, but also Kindle Unlimited. Otherwise, I'm be like, just be at the store, whoever is at being sold at the store. Um, so again, I get it. But also it's like, that's my main way of reading and finding out new authors. So,
Yeah.
For sure.
so when you're not writing, do you have like a favorite way to recharge?
Oh gosh, it just depends. It kind of depends on the time of year. So I'm in the Midwest here, so we have hot days, cold days, all we have all the seasons. In the wintertime, I love to just get off of screen. Not for the whole winter, clearly, but kind of when I'm between books and have a break. And I'm a big puzzler, so I
Mm.
love putting together puzzles. I really put myself into that nerd category. I love books and puzzles. I do. I love puzzles. My husband does too. I just got back from a 5-day trip, just a road trip with my best friend, the one who told me I should write. And the whole point, not the whole point, but the main point of our trip was we found a place that we thought had a large enough counter surface to put together a puzzle. So we went to Galena, Illinois, and we hung out in this cabin and we put together a puzzle, and we binge watched of an evening time when our old eyes weren't able to see the puzzle pieces as well. We were binge watching this show, and so that's kind of a thing. So I'll binge watch some shows. I have family around here. I love spending time with family. I have 3 kids. I love that. But like summertime, anytime I can travel and get out of the Midwest and do things, like I've never met a national park that I didn't like. And I'll be going up to Joshua Tree here just in a couple, less than 2 weeks. I'm going to do a couples trip out there. My goal, kind of bucket list, is to get to as many national parks as I can. I just love hiking. I just love being lost in the wilderness. I was originally from Colorado, born in Colorado. So I'm like, it's in my blood. I'm supposed to be in the mountains. But here I am in Iowa. I'm out in the middle of cornfields.
Oh gosh, that's funny.
Oh,
Now just to go back to what you said about when you first wrote. Do you remember your first story? And was that first story ever published? Or was it just like yeah, okay.
I didn't. It is always kind of weird to me personally. And I know that some authors have like, even from when they were a young child, like stories in notebooks and in drawers or on their computer, even they've like have 5 or 6 stories they never published. I'm definitely the mentality of, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this to the best of my ability, and I'm going to follow through, and this is going to be out there. The only unfinished projects I have are knitting projects. Anything else I'm going to finish. So yeah, my first story was um, Holding You. It was the first of a duet. Who knew? I mean, I didn't even just write one story. It turned out, because I didn't think I should put 200,000 words into one book, so I split it up into a duet, but it was one story, and wrote it. Found like I had to like really just do my research. I knew nothing about publishing. I had never, before I wrote my first book, I didn't own a Kindle. I had never downloaded a digital book. I did not know anything about the online book world. I had never heard of Goodreads. Um, I've got all of my books through bookstores or the library. And so I just faked it till I made it. And I did. I just had to research. And it's such a contrast to now. You see so many people who have been immersed in the book world, especially like bloggers who've gone on to like become authors, but yet they already had like this established platform. And so they had kind of a way to like immediately reach readers. By the way, I was not on social media until I wrote a book. My husband had been on Facebook. I was not on social media. So I did this with zero clue what I was doing. And I just was giving away copies, ebooks, print to anybody who would read my book. Like there was nothing in my mind thinking I need to make a profit here. It was just, who will take my book? And I had some bloggers. I had a fair number of bloggers that are like, not taking submissions, not going to, can't read your book, thanks for submitting. But I had a few who read it and liked it, and it was just word of mouth for the longest time. And I remember the first time that I had some of like, and this was like years back, so it had been like, totally booked their blog that they had. And I just remember thinking, what if they read one of my books? Like, and I had submitted books and they had never read my books. And then the first time that they approached, at the time, that was years later, when I actually had like a PR company, and they were like requesting a copy of my book because they'd heard other people talking about it. It was like, I've made it. Like, whether I made it or not is debatable, but it was just crazy to think, wow, I stuck with it. I kept going, I kept writing, and it's a slow process. In my years of writing, I feel like I've reached a good amount of success. I make a living doing this. I'm very lucky to make a living doing exactly what I love doing. I'm not some multimillionaire out there. I don't live in like $1 million home. I probably never, if I had the money to live in $1 million home, I still wouldn't, because we're like downsizing. But I feel so fortunate and blessed to be where I am with this. But I've never had this, like, I haven't had viral TikToks. I feel like everything has just happened to me because of word of mouth, bless my readers, and just kind of the stick-to-itiveness, like to not give up. I can't even imagine if I would have gone the route and there weren't indie publishing, and I would have been somebody who submitted to publishers. Well, really before that, just querying agents and getting turned down, as so many of even the most wildly successful authors out there have talks about, like hundreds of rejections. I don't know if I would have been able to handle that. At what point would I have been beaten down? But I feel like I've had enough, willpower to just like at least continue forward, trying to push it out there. And the reason I've had that is because I've had mostly good feedback. But I can't imagine like putting a book out and they're like, most of the ratings are 1-star ratings. I think I would have been like, I got the hint. I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
people, and these were strangers. Like, you know how you put something up there on Amazon, and if there's only like 20 ratings and they're all 5 stars, somebody's like, that's 20 of their best friends. I did not have 20 best friends to even go on and rate anything on there. So I felt really good about when my book started getting some reviews and stuff, that it was very organic. Like, these were not my best friends. These were not relatives. These were strangers who owed me nothing. So yeah, I hit a moment where I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like, maybe I should write another book. And it's my journey's been very not entertaining, not spectacular. No one's going to write a story about my journey. It was just this middle-aged woman who just kept going. That's what my story is.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. So this is an interesting question. So when you write, do you write in silence or do you have a playlist that fuels your scenes?
Yeah, both. It depends what I'm writing. Sometimes I need music to get me kind of in the emotional mood for whatever the type of scene is. And then there's other times I need silence. Most of the time, it's funny. I have music, like if I'll put out a playlist, like the book that I just put out, The Homemaker, has a playlist. I only listened to those songs a small fraction of the time where I was actually writing. A lot of the times I was listening to those songs when I was taking a walk or sitting outside. That's where I'm doing a lot of just like, I tell my husband, and this is true, but it's like, hey, if I'm outside sitting in the sun, it looks like I'm just relaxing and enjoying myself. I'm working because I'm thinking about my story. And it is true. Like, I have a song, like I have a song going and I'm kind of doing my daydreaming and I'm planning this out. But when I actually sit down to write, only a small fraction of the time do I have those particular songs playing. And usually if I do need music to write, it's instrumental. There's not any words to it. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's the instrumental stuff. I love music scores to write books too, and oftentimes I don't put those on my list because I could write every book to one particular music score that I can't even find the full thing online. So the movie Indecent Proposal had this music score that there was a long version of it that was like 20 some minutes, and it used to be on like Spotify and Apple Music. And then they got rid of it. Like, you can't find that long version, but it was amazing because it was like 20 some minutes that I would play on loop repeat and could write for hours to that particular music score. Is like gold. Still to this day, I have to get the shorter one that's only like 4 minutes long. I could write every book to that. Don't ask me why. It just does things to me.
I wonder if you could find it on YouTube. And is there, I don't know, I don't go on YouTube, but they have everything. Is there like a repeat? Like, can it just keep going?
I think you can do so. YouTube and YouTube Music are connected. If you have YouTube Music, sometimes you can find them because um that's how I like create my playlist is like YouTube Music, but some of them are like YouTube music videos,
Yeah.
but then I can play them as music on YouTube
There you
Music.
go. Give it
I
a
need to
go.
look into that. Yeah, because they have no idea that they're like really stifled my creativity. Long version.
We don't want that.
They have to retire because they got rid
The
No.
song. We need the song.
of
When you're writing, like all of your writings, do you find that there's a particular trope you always come back to, or even a micro trope that you always come back to?
I probably don't have. I have a few that are favorites that probably I love. I like a good second chance romance. My favorite thing is an enemies to lovers. And the two of them together are even better. The enemies to lovers, second chance romance together. But there's not, I've done really a terrible job at branding myself as an author. There's other authors out there who they stick with one or two areas, office romance, or they're writing just small town romance, or just a Western type romance. And it's brilliant marketing. So if any future writers are watching or listening to this, it is a good idea. Don't do what I do, which is just write all over the place. Like wherever the wind takes me, that's what I'm writing. So, and I've had both my literary agent and my publicist have told me, you're really hard to market. Like, even if they love my stuff, which they do, and I do believe they're being genuine about it, it's hard to market because I'm just all over the place. How about some suspense here? How about something slightly paranormal? How about a rom-com? How about something dark? That's me. I write the way I read.
Mhm.
But even with all that, enemies to lovers, I love enemies. Well, because I love reading banter and it just sets you up for banter. I
Mhm.
mean, easily. I love that.
Yeah. Enemies to lovers just hits different. I mean, that's my favorite too anyway. Like no matter what genre, I think it hits differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know what I was just gonna say. Oh, well, this book in particular has the second chance and the banter, so
Mm.
I won't give away too much.
That's all right. Yeah. It was fun to write. There wasn't quite the enemies to lovers banter as some of my other books, but there was plenty of room in the story for the characters to have their witty little moments, and I do love that. I need that when I write, so it's very fulfilling to me.
Mhm. So I know you said you're kind of like you dabble on different genres kind of thing. Is there any genre or trope that you haven't written yet that you would love to kind of in the future write?
I would like to. I will probably always stay somewhat in the romance. I feel like every good story, even like movies that my husband watches that are action movies, I love the ones that have a little bit of a romance woven in. It doesn't have to be the main part of the story, but there needs to be a little romance. So it would be hard for me to give that up. But I have like dabbled with some of my stories in a little bit of paranormal or, suspending from realism. And I would love to do that. I don't know if I want to dive full on into like romantasy. I'm
Mm.
not sure my area of expertise. Not that I am to the point where I'm like I could probably do anything if I just worked hard enough at it. I just don't know if I have the desire to do the level of world building
Mhm.
for a romantasy novel, but I've considered that writing something that has like a light amount of magic. I mean, I've written, I wrote Transcendent Epic, and it's kind of plays with reincarnation. I have my life series, which plays with things that are probably clearly not real, most likely, that could happen from a near death experience and somebody having kind of this ability that they didn't have, not like Superman, but just like they see things or they know things. And I love that because it's fun to just like step out of the contemporary romance enough that you can kind of make up some of the rules, but yet, and you're able to bring your contemporary romance readers with you, because those who don't want to read romantasy or don't want to read full on paranormal, they'll like at least stick one foot outside and let me go there. And so it's like I feel like I'm dragging them slowly with me. And so I'd love to just kind of continue to push the boundaries of that and see how many of my current readers I can bring with me. So we'll see.
We touched on the publishing aspect a little bit. What are some things that you had wish you'd known that you know now when you started publishing?
Oh my goodness. How much time do we have here? Oh, I wish. I mean, I told you that I kind of write all over the place. I wish I would have established myself a little bit better with sticking kind of with one area, like writing more series that are interconnected. Even if they're standalone, I feel like those have always done well. They even do better now. I wish I would have done a better job with my covers, even though I know everyone changes their covers. I wish I would have branded myself a little bit better with my covers. I wish I would have put more effort into social media earlier on. I feel like I'm always one step behind, playing catch up. Because I have a friend who has just written her first book, and she's already way further along with some of this stuff. But it's the things I'm telling her that, like, okay, if I had it to do over again, I would definitely look into that. Gosh, it's so hard because, like, clearly back then, some of the things that are now considered, uh, like, there's like multiple covers for the same book, or I mean, there's like all these things that it just weren't happening back then, but just I saw other authors probably just branding themselves better, and I just like even with my covers, I knew that my books were not the same story, just slightly different characters, slightly different. I wasn't just writing small town or just office romance or whatever that way, or motorcycle club stuff. I was writing all over the place, and I wanted my covers to feel as unique and different from each other as the stories were. And I thought that was such a great thing, right? Like, if you're going to write something that's very different from this other thing, it should have a different feel to it. And later on, I realized, boy, I should have focused more on Julie Ann being a brand. But it just seemed silly because at the time I didn't ever know whether I was going to make a living writing books. And that seemed so full of myself. Like, even like putting your name on a book, like, I know, like, now talking with ads experts, like, the larger that your name can be on a book, oftentimes the more people click on the book. There's like all these things that they know that I just never researched. And at the time, you feel very unsuccessful and insignificant. And so, like, you put your name as small as can be on a book. So, like, even this friend I was talking to, I'm like, pretend as though you're a best-selling author absolutely right now. Like, jump into it, put your name out there. And I'm more this person, like, I'm more introverted, and I let it show too much in my marketing. So yeah, there's so many things, but the branding is the biggest one. I wish I would have focused more on that, but I didn't know, because I didn't know where I was going with this. It was kind of a hobby. It was like, let's just test it out.
Hmm.
And I don't think, like, I mean, yes, we looked at it as branding before, but it wasn't like full on, like, you have from the get go. Now you have to be like a brand already, kind of when you start marketing, like years ago before social media and all that stuff. We did it wasn't really talked about that way, kind of thing. So it's very different now.
Yeah.
You have to be with. That's another thing, is just this is a funny business because, and I think there's a lot of things like this, other professions, but you really have to be ready to change direction quickly. And I think part of it's probably my age that's made me stubborn, of like, come on, everyone, can we just stick with something that works for more than 10 seconds before this, the whole, this is the new trend, this is the new thing. And I just am the grumpy person. I'm not actually a grumpy person, but I probably come across that way when I'm like, I just want to write books. Why do I have to be an expert in all of these other areas? But you do. I mean, especially indie publishing. And but I don't even want to say that just with indie publishing. I think if you're an author who doesn't indie publish, but you submit to have it, if you get yourself an agent and you submit to a publisher, the publishers expect you to have a social media presence, and they expect you to be out there doing these things. It's not like years ago before you had social media where, yeah, it's like that publisher is gonna, other than you maybe showing up to some bookstores to sign some books and they're gonna do this marketing. That's over too. Like, so I mean, I wish that were the case. I wish I could be like, oh, when I'm working with my publisher and I'm not indie publishing, I just sit back and they do everything. No, you still have to be out there promoting this book, and they expect that of you. And just, yeah, times have changed, and I am getting better about listening to the people around me. Like, when I have a publicist that says, you need to be doing this, I'm like, okay, I'm not great at it, but I will pivot because honestly, I'm like what I do best is write books. I'm terrible at the other stuff. That's why I hire people around me. But and they make me look better than I am. You know, they make me look more put together. Like I'll have people message me and like about being accepted or not for an arc or something that they got. And I'm like, I know nothing about this. You know, even the whole like, I wasn't approved for an arc. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I know you think maybe I'm sitting at my computer going through hundreds of names, deciding who's going to get an arc. I really am not. And I hate that because it used to be more personal. But I mean, the good news is for me, and when an author gets to the point where they have to have somebody else do that, that's good for business, but it does suck. This is like everything comes with a cost. And the cost with this, you start to lose some of those personal connections of like years ago, I was like, oh, I was approving everyone for arcs and just handing out books like crazy. And it's hard to like make these changes. It just I like to get in my cozy spot and can we all just do the same thing? Can we all agree this is the cover we're going to put on our books? Can we just all agree that no, we don't?
Yeah.
I think I could I was just to bring it back to the marketing, like, I was thinking about that. I remember, like, it was, like, 2002. I was, like, at the beach, and I'm looking through a magazine, and that's where I would see, like, new books that were coming out, and I would rip the magazine page out, and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta put this in my purse because I wanna remember that the next time I go to the drugstore or the bookstore, I
Right.
can get this." So, yeah, you're so right, it really has changed. Now, if you don't have Instagram, TikTok or Facebook promoting it out there or a team doing it, it's like you kind of get lost in the
Yeah, I mean,
shuffle.
you have to know where the readers are hanging out. I mean, I don't think everyone's hanging out exclusively on Goodreads anymore. I kind of hope not, because out of all the places I avoid like the plague, it is definitely Goodreads. I mean, I'm very open about the fact that if you see Julianne posting anything on Goodreads, that is PR. That is not me. In fact, it is by plan that I don't ever have to go on there because it's not where authors go to feel good about themselves for the day. We'd all just quit if you go onto Goodreads.
Right.
But yeah, and this is like I will say even now, like there's threads. I'm on threads. I'm not on threads. So like like I have like this account, but I've never posted and I don't look at anything on threads. When they thought TikTok was going to go away, and then they had the lemon thing, I think I have a lemon account, but I'm not on there and I've never posted. It's kind of like many years ago I was on Twitter, which is now X. So I think Julie Ann is technically still has an account on there, and maybe something even gets cross posted to there. But I can't say the last time I was on there because I also don't really. I Julie Ann Claire is my pen name. I am Julie, but uh, I I am not I am not my non-author self on social media anymore. I had an account for a short amount of time just on Facebook. I don't have that. I don't interact. So if I'm online as an author. And so that's why I don't there's certain places like I don't have to be. If it doesn't work for me to be there as an author, I don't have to be there personally. And it was kind of a bummer because I probably would enjoy like my husband and kids and stuff. They're like show me funny. And I can sometimes get distracted, but then I have people scolding me that I'm messing up my algorithm or I'm like training or like you can't be looking at cute puppies if you're trying to sell books. And I'm like, but the puppies are fun, you know?
Yes, and it's and like before, TikTok was just like random. It was, whatever. You didn't have to like train your algorithm. Now it's kind of like if you only want to see books, you have to train it to like just books.
You
And
do. And you see this other stuff that's more interesting. And I have these voices of people who are smarter than me about this telling me what to do. And I find myself watching something that's not book stuff. And I'm like, oh no. So then, even though I want to see more of it, I have to click the button that I'm not interested, even though I'm really interested in this. Yeah.
That's funny. I know.
it's like it's almost like going back to school, like learning things that it's like, why am I need to learn this? It's like, um, s- do you have any quirky like release day traditions?
I don't. I am here's again, like you guys are gonna be like, so we interviewed Julianne, potentially the most boring person ever.
No.
Yeah, so I don't have any release day traditions. Never have had a huge celebration when I release a book. You know how you see some authors post on release day, like picture of a wine glass and they're out to dinner and they're celebrating or a book. I mean, when I did publish with like Montlake, I mean, people then like sent me like flowers and so like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna post this because I've never had anything to post on release day before. But oftentimes like my husband doesn't even necessarily know that I've released a book and I'll like casually mention like later in the day I'll like, so I released a book today. It's just like no big deal. I have 3 boys. Clearly they don't care that I have released a book and they're older too. So they're just, 2 of them aren't even in, living here anymore. So I have nothing. Nothing. In fact, most days I just try to ignore social media until after dinner. Then I go on real quick and I do a gazillion like thank you likes. I'll like appreciate thanks for sharing all of this and it's overwhelming and I just feel exhausted afterwards. But on a good release day, I am actually writing and not thinking about release. And I'm not logging on and caring about rank or how many sales that I have because I do best when I can just like be kind of even keel. The publishing is an up and down. Somebody loved it, somebody hated it, somebody loved it, somebody hated it. Books sold today, but they didn't sell yesterday. It's different. It's not like when I was a dental hygienist, like I did my thing. I went to work, I came home, I didn't have to bring my work home. I wasn't being evaluated and judged every day. It was just, and emotionally that's like a good place to be. I'm sure some people think like, oh, my 9 to 5 job or whatever is boring, but sometimes boring is good for your emotions, because you're just like, you're there. And that's not publishing books at all. It's all over the place all the time.
Now, if you could give one piece of advice to a new writer, what would it be?
Oh my goodness. Girl, this will kind of play on what we piggyback on what we were talking about. You need to have a very, very thick skin to do this.
Yeah.
I can't even stress that enough. I can't because no matter how great your book is, the best authors out there, the ones making the absolute most money, whatever you want to say, they have had their feelings hurt way more than you ever realize. And I don't think when you put out a book, you get excited about people liking it. And when somebody likes your book, it is amazing. It's almost like you've found a best friend because most writers, no matter what we say, everyone deep down knows that part of their soul has been left in that book. You don't spend that much time and put all of this out there and not have a little piece of your soul in every single book. So even if you're not going on Goodreads, which I don't do, even I don't go looking for reviews anymore. I mean, I haven't done that in many, many, many years. You're still going to come across them. And then I know people who are like, I read all of my reviews and I'm like, oh, wow. Like that must be quite something. Again, that's that up and down and somebody hates it and somebody loves it. But even like whether it be the editing process. So I said, the friend of mine who's writing a book, she's going through the editing process and she's like not prepared to have somebody like critiquing it, not even like a review way, just like I'm trying to make your work better for you. But just every time they catch an error, every time there's anything, you take it, it's so easy to take everything personally. And that's hard. And like I have grown a thick skin, but I don't think there'll ever come a day that I'm unaffected by somebody saying something negative about one of my books. I know it's natural. It's not like I don't get this. Every author knows it's natural. Every author knows that they themselves have had books that they liked and books that they don't like. So it's not like we're like, no one's allowed to give us anything but 5 stars. That's not it at all. It's just that we are very connected to these books. We put them out in the world. We know they're no longer ours. They're going to be read by however many different eyes. They're going to be interpreted so many different ways. And I don't think the average, I don't think anybody who starts out publishing is at all prepared for how it's going to feel and the emotions that are going to go into publishing, and that no matter how thick you think your skin is, it's not. And like you need to have an outlet. You need to have a group of people, not even the group of people to be like, don't worry, you're amazing. It's not that. It's just those people reminding you that it's okay that everybody doesn't like your book. Like you don't, you know what I mean? Like that is impossible. It's not going to happen, but you need that reminder all the time. And that's heartbreaking for me. Like that's watching new authors realize how emotionally devastating it can feel to get few books out there and to like grin and bear it. You're always like, it's fine, you didn't like my book. It's fine. But deep inside, you're like, you feel like it's personal, like you don't like me. I mean, and that's how it feels, and that's the only way to describe it. And it sucks, and we know that's not it, but we're human. I mean, if you at any other job, if you were to go in and somebody to be critical of you, and they're like, "I'm just judging your job. I know this is nothing personal," but everything's personal to people to a certain extent. I mean, the whole "this isn't personal" thing is kind of the biggest load of you know what there is. Everything to we are human. Everything is a little personal.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of almost like, when you have a 9 to 5 job, you're like yearly annual review. Like, that's kind of how I look at it, but like it's just more constant because,
Yeah,
people are
I mean,
reading.
imagine getting that yearly annual review multiple times a day. Right. I mean, and you not knowing, and if somebody's just like, you're doing a good job, but I didn't like how your hair looked today. Or, you know what I mean? And sometimes that's the equivalent of it. Like, it's like the person coming along and they're like, I know everybody loves this book. I'm in the minority, all of this. And I get it. I've been there. We've all been there. But if you haven't written a book and put it out there, you have like no idea. Because that's another thing people think, oh, we're just trying to help make the author better. Most authors aren't reading these reviews because we have to believe to survive, we have to believe these reviews are not for us because it would be crushing. I mean, here's the thing, too, and this is advice also for a new author. When you put out your book, if a majority of the people liked it, that's all that matters. You don't cater to the people who didn't like it. I always roll my eyes at the whole, you can become a better writer by reading your 1 and 2 star reviews. If a majority of your reviews are 4 and 5 star, who cares about the other ones? Because if you go changing how you're writing to please the few people who don't like your book, chances are the people who did like it are now not going to like it. So you need to cater to the people who like your book, unless you are swapped. Like I said, if I would have started and most of my reviews would have been like 1 and 2 star, and then there was only a few, then maybe you need to read those other ones. But and it's nothing disrespectful to somebody leaving the 1 or 2 star. But if most people are giving me good ratings and I have this small group of people who are not, it's nothing personal to you either, but I can't cater to you. That's, like you're not my audience potentially. Maybe I'm not your author, and that's okay because there are millions of authors out there. And I think that's important for new authors to remember too, that you will never please everybody. So don't try. It's silly to try. You'll lose yourself. You won't even have an authentic voice because your voice will be all over the place, always trying to please everybody. And all of your books will be lukewarm because you're just playing it safe the whole time, and just it's not worth doing that.
That's great advice though. Like, as you found your readers, then kind of like stick to your readers. It's good to like get new ones once in a while, but if you have like a core readers that will, they'll read it.
Yeah. And then they're going to tell people. That's how I built my brand per se, is word of mouth. I found people who like my books and then they tell other people. I mean, I run ads, but I will tell you by far word of mouth has got me way more readers than any ads I've ever ran.
Hmm.
Oh, this would be kind of like a fun question, maybe. um, if you could swap lives with one of your characters for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh gosh, there's too many of them. That is
Just
so.
don't say Alice, that's too much work.
I know. Oh my gosh. um, it would probably Jessica Day or Jillian Knight. They're the same person for my Jack and Jill series because
Mhm.
she's just such a badass character. And I loved writing her, and she's snarky and she has like assassin level skills, and it would just be fun to like know that no one's going to mess with me for a day. And she's just, yeah, I mean, she's kind of like everything that I'm not, but would love to be. And so I'd be her for the day.
I feel
Okay.
like that would be fun,
It would
like
be fun, right? It's kind of,
yeah.
yeah, why not?
Oh, so let's jump into the new release. Let's talk about the Homemaker. So the lead FMC Alice takes a job as a homemaker. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, I originally knew I wanted to write something that was a billionaire romance, only not. Like, I wanted it to be a billionaire's world, but I did not want the couple falling in love to be billionaires. I wanted them to be immersed into this world. I have a good friend who has nannied for years for some pretty wealthy people in Arizona. And so she's always shared quite a few stories about um, how interesting the lives are of the really wealthy people and some of the things they do. And so I thought, because the thing is they can hire literally anybody to do anything for them. So that's where the idea of the homemaker, like, what if you had this woman who's like, I'm married, I'm solidified in this marriage, I've done my thing, I'm not going to be your mom, I'm not going to be your grandma, I'm not going to be your homemaker, I'm your wife, that type of thing. And but what if he wants like the person who's cooking meals and wearing an apron and looks like the 1960s housewife, and she's canning and jarring and making soap, although Alice never really does
No,
that.
I know that was the
um,
best.
so but like, what if I'm like, if you had enough money, you could hire somebody to do that. And so that was kind of the idea behind, like, what if you hired somebody to do that? And that was mixed with, so this is set up in the Chain of the Lakes area,
Yeah.
right outside of Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, and it's a beautiful area, and there are definitely some affluent neighborhoods. And my best friend and I will take our little girls trips, like we were talking about earlier. We stayed up there at a vacation rental, and so that kind of then sparked the idea of like, it'd be interesting if like there was this vacation rental and like the owner, because the people who owned it lived upstairs, although we never saw them. I think it was a married couple anyway, but it's like, what if like it was like some hot guy who lived upstairs? And so my mind kind of went in that direction. So those two things meshed together, and from that came the homemaker. But before all of that, the reason I even started going down that road was because I had a reader message me and say, would you write a story, or you should write a story based on Taylor Swift's song Fortnite? And it was not based on, inspired by. That is a total difference, because there's nothing about this story that I'm sure has anything to do with anything remotely close to what Taylor Swift is meaning in her song Fortnite. So that is where it actually all began. And from that, then that's where my mind started going about the wealthy people and all this. And there's like the whole couple who had a fortnight, these 2 weeks together, and then it's years later and they turned into good neighbors, and she kind of hates, like, you're with this perfect person and she waters the flowers and I kind of hate her, that type of thing. And so like I just kind of like took bits and pieces of the lyrics, and even just kind of Alice and her background, and kind of her, she had some mental emotional issues, so that's kind of drawing from that song as well. And so I just kind of pulled bits and pieces of it and wove it into this story. And it's the first time I've had a lot of readers say, do this, this, and this. And, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And this one, even when this reader messaged me, I was just like, sure, I'll think about it. But then it was funny, like, then anytime that song would come on, it's like haunting me. Finally, I was like, this story now has to be written, because so yeah, that's how the Homemaker was born.
Okay. I love it.
So we have to thank that reader for like messaging it,
Reader
right?
for the homemaker. Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. She'll probably read it and be like, what?
This is not what I said.
This is not what, not it. So like the MMC Murphy, definitely falls first. Would you characterize him as a golden retriever type? And did you ever envision him taking a different path?
Um, yeah, he's definitely kind of your golden retriever. He's just a good guy. Like he's a little bit shy, but I mean he's like manly enough. It was kind of like the first time they decided that he didn't expect Alice to be like, what if having sex was an amenity that you offered at your rental?
That was amazing.
Like you can tell, like any other guy probably would be like, well, of course, but Murphy's like enough of your good guy that he's like, kind of the whole, excuse me, like what? And doesn't know, but he's very intrigued by her. You know, he lives in the upstairs. He's looking out the window at her because she's just kind of sitting there out on. He's got this little um, kind of back deck area with like little lights above it, a little outdoor sectional. So he's very intrigued by her, but yeah, he's just your good guy. I mean, yeah, he has like treats for the squirrels in his pocket, and um, the cat, like, yeah, he's got this cat, his sidekick that that's not an indoor cat. Like, I love when an animal kind of like plays into that. But yeah, like he feeds this cat and he takes care of this cat. It's kind of the neighborhood cat. He goes to the grocery store and he's the person who like organizes all the carts and the cart return. And he's got like these endearing qualities that you can't not fall in love with Murphy. And I knew I wanted him to just be this person, especially when you're seeing the backstory when it goes back from past to present, that it's just easy to fall in love with Murphy, but that you have Alice that you don't know what to think of Alice. And that's by design because you don't know all of her story. So I kind of want Alice. I had this character with Alice. I wanted her to be this a little bit of a mysterious character that like you learn to love her and appreciate her as the story goes on, and especially when you find out things about her past and the reason she's made certain decisions. And like my heart broke writing her part because I very much felt for her, but also not giving you all of her past. I know it was kind of risky because I thought, will readers like her until they actually know what her motives are? Because that's part of it too. Like falling in love with the character, you feel like you need to know why they're doing the things they're doing. And when you're also trying to allow there to be this mystery from the reader, you take the chance on somebody not liking Alice and then they can't later change their mind because they early on decided they didn't like her. And so and I that happens a lot with heroines anyway. I feel like readers in general do not give heroines the benefit of the doubt the way we do. Like heroes can do anything, and we're like, oh, but they're so sexy, so it doesn't matter. The heroine does one thing wrong, and they're like, I don't know, I didn't like her. She was a bitch or something like that. And you're just like, come on, you got to give some equalness here. So, but Murphy, yeah, I love Murphy. He's a good guy.
I think to circle back to Alice, you always knew that something happened. It wasn't that so I think I had no aversion to her. I had no issues with her. I was just waiting to figure it out, like what happened. Because their relationship for those 2 weeks was so fun.
Yeah.
Like their banter, they were just fun people. Like you wanted to be that couple.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I loved writing that. And that was, again, that was so by design of just, and I think a lot of people who have gone through something traumatic, and that's what she had gone through, something traumatic, is just like, if I can just escape for a little bit, like this past summer, like on a personal level, and I felt this recently on this girls' trip that I took. So like my husband lost both of his parents here in a matter of 3 months. And so we've kind of had this like life has just been really heavy. And there's these times like, so when I went on this trip with my best friend, I'm like, let's not talk about that stuff. Like, again, like, let's put together this puzzle. Like, we're going to pretend like this, like life, the real lifey things. I mean, it's just everything right now that's going on in the world. So like, you've got this outer stuff and then in your immediate life, but I'm like, let's just escape it. So writing Alice going to this rental just felt that way. I can imagine just being like, I need to check out for a couple weeks. and I know, and like, the whole time that she knows she's got to deal with her real life whenever she leaves it these 2 weeks, kind of the whole reason why she's joking, only not with Murphy, like, don't fall in love with me. She knows she has to deal with that. But everything else, it was like why you could have a steak at 9 o'clock at night and why you could drink wine for breakfast, and just like the rules don't apply. Like, she's just like, that's his real life. He has this rental. He's a wood turner on the side. He's got his day job that he's working from home most of the time. Like, his life isn't stopping. That's why was probably a little more hesitant with stuff with her. But she was just like, this isn't even my real life. That's the mentality that she goes with. And so it's almost like this extended hall pass. Like, she's got 2 weeks to just pretend like nothing else exists. And so that's the frame of mind I was in writing her character, which just made it fun because it was like, what else do we have to do? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask this next question. And I'm not going to give anything away. I'm going to keep it very okay. So the plot twist with Cameron at the end really would, I imagine, threw me for a loop, and other readers will throw them for a loop. Did you always plan to have it like that, or did you come up with that twist towards the end?
No, I came up with that that's not true. I kind of thought I was going to maybe head in that direction. The ending of the book in general happened in the moment. I don't plot, I just write, and it's whatever emotion I'm in at the moment. And I went in that direction. And actually, it is probably one of my favorite endings to a book that I wrote. It might not come across that way for everybody because it's a happily ever after, but in a very different way. And I talked with even a friend of mine who has experience a little bit in how this book ends, kind of. I'll leave it very vague that way. But just like, how would you feel about like this? Like, is this okay? And she's like, yeah. I mean, I tweaked a couple things, but I felt like it's something like I hadn't read or come across before. Happy ending, but it felt right, and I was so proud of my characters at the end of this book, and that is important to me. I don't know if it's the mother in me or what, but I want to feel proud of my characters. I mean, these are not perfect characters, and clearly they do things in this book that some people will have a huge issue with, and that's okay. That they are human. But I'm somebody who's very forgiving of people. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I like to allow people to kind of right their wrongs in life. And I feel like these characters get there. It's a long journey to get there. And there's the scene where, I won't give anything away here either, but if you guys have read this or listened to it, then there's a scene where Murphy takes Blair to dinner and has a talk with her. That is probably my favorite scene in the whole book because my heart was just like, it was in all these pieces writing this because I wanted it to be, I knew that there was no easy way to write that scene. And I'm putting myself through, it's this Murphy's point of view, and how we went about having a discussion with her. Just, I don't know, it just like all fit together. And then even like listening to the audio, I'm like, please land this scene. I need you to land this scene. If you don't land any other scene in the book, and I actually love how they narrated the whole book, but this scene, I'm like, they did it. Like, it was just like the emotion was there. And it was the whole forcing characters to grow up throughout a book, take ownership of the things that they've done wrong, but also to be compassionate. And I felt like Murphy did something really hard, but he had to do it in the most compassionate way. And I don't know. I love that. I don't know why I do. And there could be other people. Other people might read this and be like, I hated that scene, hated how that all went down. But for me, like, there's no great way to have that scene happen, but I liked how it happened. given their background. I'm so vague, so anybody who hasn't read the book listening to this would be like, what is she talking about? But when you get to the scene where Murphy takes Blair to dinner, you'll know. And then you'll be like, oh, that's what she
I thought that was a smart thing to do. I thought it was smart because if it had gone another way, if you just said, "Hey, listen, blah blah blah," it could have caused a scene.
Yeah, I felt like it's like taking somebody on this very gentle walk and
Yes.
letting them jump off the cliff at the end.
Yes.
I mean, it is. It's like convincing somebody else to actually jump off the cliff. You don't have to push them off the cliff. It's like there. And that's kind of what it felt like. And it wasn't supposed to be karma or anything like that. It was
No.
just
Although
life.
it was a little.
It was a little, but it wasn't meant to be. It was just life, Yeah. And love sucks. There's nothing easy about love. That's I love that part of writing books, is that love is messy. Anybody who thinks it's not messy is just probably never been in love. I've only been with one man my whole life. I married my high school sweetheart. And I would still say love is messy. So it's not even like I have a love triangle or anything to compare it to. Love is just messy. It is.
I don't think, yeah, I think you have to work for it. I don't think it's easy. Or, I mean, if it's easy, then is it really like love? Like there's no such thing as perfect.
And there's vulnerability, because to me, to love, you have to be vulnerable to love. That's in kind of the proverbial way, truly opening your heart. And when you do that, you're going to get hurt. I mean, so that's even like in committed relationships. The people who love you the most will be the ones that hurt you the most too, because you have opened your heart to them and you're just vulnerable.
So is Vera and Hunter were such a lovable couple in their golden years. Will we ever see them again in other books?
So this will be a 3-book series of standalones that will be only connected for the most part in the fact they're going to be set in the chain of lakes. They're all going to be about wealthy couples, but the love story will not be between the wealthy couples. So anybody who reads this book, there's only one character. I'm not saying that Hunter and Vera's names might not come up, but there will be zero spoilers to this book and the other books. We're going to visit Rupert Rawlings in the next
book. The neighbor?
What's that?
Is that the neighbor?
The neighbor who gets the pie. We're going to hang out in his household for a while and see what happens. So
okay. Okay. This is Marjorie's favorite question. Okay. If The Homemaker were to become a movie, who would you cast as Alice and Murphy?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to disappoint you on this one because I am so out of touch with Hollywood that I would like randomly go thinking of people from the 80s or 90s who were probably 50.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. You know who I could see? Oh God, what is her name?
Because I think readers are so much better and they come up with something and I'm like, oh, that would be perfect. Yeah, clearly if my book got made into a movie, I won't be doing the casting.
But
Colleen, did you see the movie Easy A?
I have.
Yeah.
The redhead.
Oh, Emma Stone?
That's it. There you go. I've seen her where she's like witty in things, and I could see her being Alice.
Oh, she could too. I can totally see her because she's also able to just kind of like put that smile on her face. And I can totally see her. I like that. Yes. Let's put that out into the universe. See if it comes to fruition. I like that. Yeah, I don't know Murphy. Who's going to be Murphy? I don't know.
We always say it's like we always like choose the people who are like in the 2000s or like those 90s rom-com kind of.
I always do.
I always do because I was like, I don't know.
They're ageless.
Well, in the newer ones, I was like, well, you kind of look very, very young for the books that I'm reading. Like, you know.
Yeah, that is hard. And also because I hope this is changing because you see more and more books now that are being acquired to be made into movies or television series. But I feel like we kind of didn't have great rom-coms for a while. Like even now, I'm waiting for that rom-com that makes me feel the way like I did when I watched Sweet Home Alabama years ago. Like my like I want more of those, or like even probably since then, like Maid of Honor was one. I love the one, I was talking about this with my friend. Don't know if you guys will have seen it. Oh, I can't remember. It has the redhead in it. Why can't I remember her name? And she goes to Ireland, and there's the Irish guy, and she has her Louis Vuitton bag, and they call him Louis. And he's like, he drives a little car. He's like, it's called,
Leap year?
yes. I feel
Yeah.
like we're playing that game where I'm telling you every word but
That-
we're
yeah.
for 2,000 points. Yes, it's leap year. I mean, it's like I love those ones where you just. I don't usually just rewatch and reread things over and over, but I love ones that like I want to do that. And those are I haven't had those in a while.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
late 90s and early
Mhm.
2000s have the
Yes.
best. Even if it's not rom-com, but like even like the romantic movies, they're well written, well made. And then now it's kind of like, what are you guys doing? Like, or even if they adapt books and you've read the book and I'm just like, that's not the book.
Yeah,
Like,
you want these ones where there's the humor part, there's the romance. It doesn't, like you said, it just has to be a great romance. I want the ones that just feel like the couple is so faded that they can make mistakes. There can be cheating in it, whatever it is, but it doesn't matter. Like I always think, like The Notebook, it didn't matter that there was cheating because you knew who was supposed to be together. I mean, it's just, I love those. It's not like I condone cheating in real life or anything, whatever. I mean, I'm like, I just mind my own business. You do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you anyway, but I miss those. I hope we see more of them. I hope that like every time I see like a book that's going to be made into something, a movie or whatever, I'm just always crossing my fingers. I'm like, make it amazing. Like, don't make it something where you're like, oh, that was cheesy or just, lackluster.
or change the whole thing of it, like change the most important parts. It's like, that's not. There's a reason that the book was popular because there's specific scenes or the story. Um,
I don't know if this was on Passionflix or if it wasn't. I think it was, so maybe not everyone will be able to see it. It was a book. Was it called The Matchmaker's
Oh,
Playbook?
playbook, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't see that. Was that good?
It was cute. Yeah. Like
Hmm.
that was light and fun, and I don't know, I liked it.
No, that's great. I've only seen probably a couple of them on Passionflix. I don't watch a bunch of stuff except if I just binge watch something with my husband.
Yeah.
He's not going to watch that with me. So. It's
yeah,
funny. He likes some chick flicks, but probably not going there.
yeah,
No.
yeah. The like 2000s are like the best chick flicks ever. Like we could find something, and now it's kind of like, what are we doing?
It's too heavy. Stuff's too
Mhm.
heavy right now.
It's like a bunch of documentaries. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm like,
Reality TV shows. I'm just like, I need to escape reality. Like, don't give me reality TV right now. I don't need that.
yeah. So that's why I'm like, I always just rewatch things because I already know what's happening. So I'm like, I don't have to kind of be more, invested in it because I can't invest a lot on like newer shows just because I was like, oh, I don't know if you're gonna get canceled or you're gonna get like picked up for the next season.
I had to wait till like I do like the short series that they have sometimes. Some haven't always been romance, but just watching like some of them was like a mystery we watched on Apple TV a while back. It's called Defending Jacob. I don't know if you've heard of that one, but it was like my whole family, like we binged that. It's not a romance at all, but it was just, I like those short series where like, it's all out. It's not going to take weeks and weeks, but yet, it's not going to get canceled because there's something about those. What are the ones with, they're set back in what? Late 1800s, early 1900s. You know what I'm talking about?
Bridgerton?
The Bridgerton. I have perimenopause brain, by the way, so I need everyone to finish my sentences. Yeah, I mean, like those, I like the ones that are like, this is your story, we're giving it even though they're connected, like they were like these short series, or years ago we called them mini series. I guess they're called limited or whatever now. I like those things. Like you can, like I know I can just binge this in a short amount of time, and I got the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Back in the day, those are mini series. Now they're just like, that's the whole series kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I said miniseries to somebody one day, and they looked at me like I was 100 years old, and I'm like, "Did you never watch a miniseries?" Okay.
Because it's kind of like that's how they're series now. Because before, when we would watch them, it's like 22 episodes is the whole series, so it's long. Now you get lucky if you have eight episodes for the whole series. But yeah, yeah, I miss those days. But um, okay, so this one I don't know if you'll be able to answer. It's not. Do you have a favorite scene in the book?
Well, the one that I told you about the dinner, but probably other scene that's not just so heartbreaking. Um, I like their first kind of spicy scene because it's not actually overly spicy of present time. It's in the bathroom. Because I like it because it's the whole, you have this moment of like, I hate who you're with. Well, I hate who you were. Like, there's this burning, but it doesn't turn into like a full on love scene. It's just still that like, it's starting to crack. The tension is like there, and then it just ends, and it's just like it's part of the slow burn. But I just like it because they're both being very honest with each other. Of like, we're both miserable. They're not saying that, but it's like, the feeling of I like that tension. I like also just, and really the scene that led up to it. Honestly, I totally forgot about that. No, it was a scene that led up to it. I love the ick scene. There is an ick scene. The ick scene because he's kind of on edge for a lot of reasons. And Murphy, again, having him be that golden retriever, to put him on edge that way, the whole, well, I might have a few icks too. And everyone's just like, you're like, oh, say
I
that.
know Hunter's like,
I
run, run.
know. But that just was like, Murphy just was not having a good day. And he just, even the good guy, golden retriever guy, can have his like last straw, and he'd hit that last straw. So I digress. That, as far as just kind of fun to write, that was fun to write.
Yeah. I feel like I already know. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say I know I might know who the answer to this is going to be, but I'll say it. Is there a side character in the book who you felt kept stealing the spotlight and that you maybe need their own story?
A side character who kept stealing the story. Who do you think stole the story? Are you thinking the coach? Or are you thinking,
Oh, 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 what was his name? Callan? No.
yeah.
You're like, no, that's not what I was
No,
thinking.
because you know what ticked me off about Callan is that Alice made it seem like her relationship with him was more than what it was to Murphy. Like, because Murphy thought that was her boyfriend, like that they were more serious. But you know what? Not for nothing, I would have done the same thing.
Well, yeah, because like, of course you're going to do the same thing. Like, you're engaged, you've moved on. Well, you've moved on too. You're going to guard your heart even if you're using poor Callan to do that.
I know.
Who
No, not that he's going to
needs
get his
a
own
Blair?
story.
Were you thinking Blair needs? I don't know. Like,
Oh, Blair definitely. I feel like this experience. Oh wait, well, but we kind of already know. Like when we in the years later, like she's got her own thing going on. Doesn't she have like a kid?
oh, Blair. Yeah, yeah. So you kind of get that.
Hunter's the best though. I mean, not that I want a love story about two
Oh,
people in
I
their
was gonna say, yeah,
60s.
he's already like, he's kind of got his. his thing. I do love him. And Vera, I love their relationship. I loved I loved writing Alice in a way where she felt like she was the glue that held everyone together. Like it's like she kind of like she refers to them as a threesome, but not in a sexual way. Just like we're all in this relationship together. But also she was that way a little bit with Murphy and Blair. Like she was the peacemaker. Like when Blair was having some mess issues, like she was defending her. And I love writing Alice where almost like she's like, I can't believe I'm defending her, but here I am. Again, almost like and like she's the homemaker, totally dressing the part, doing the thing. What can I do for you? Let me solve all of your problems. But deep down she's distracted by something else that we learn about later. And so yeah, but Hunter's great. But that's why I think the next book that Rupert Rawlings, the neighbor, is going to be fun to write. Him and his wife and and I'm not going to tell you the title of it, but him and his wife and their blank, which is not the homemaker. It's going to be another title of that.
Homewrecker. No.
Somebody refers to it in here. She's like, I'm a homemaker, not a homewrecker. Well, it's the next book will be the title of every book is its title is going to be essentially the position that's being hired. And this also will be a position that is not overly common, I would imagine, but I would also imagine that very wealthy people wouldn't think twice about paying somebody to do this. That's all you're getting.
You know what? My
You can say-
mother-in-law had one.
She doesn't. She doesn't have to.
What I'm thinking. A wet nurse.
A what?
A wet nurse.
I don't know if that title would like go well, or I don't know how you're gonna market that. Can you imagine telling your
I love
public?
the title.
Oh no, sorry to my mother-in-law. It was the 70s. What do you want?
How many people would buy that book, The Wet Nurse?
I mean, it would be catchy because people would be like, "What is
what is this wet nurse?" I know.
Yeah.
I know what a wet nurse is. But no, this is going to be the wife, and Rupert's wife is going to hire a male for something. I'll give you that much. Not
Okay,
a
all right. I'll wait.
Not a wet nurse.
Not a wet nurse.
That's a wet nurse. The fluffer.
We could be you know, just like
You're really good at this.
But because it would be like cover or title reveal. The wet nurse people be like, "What is happening? Like what?" People would be so interested because they'll be like, "What kind of romantic story is this?"
Oh God, I
You
can't.
wouldn't be able to do that. I can already tell you, and this was because of my age of finding it funny, but somebody would be like, I would be then called racist or something because somebody would be like, that has to do with slavery. I mean, that I already can predict this. I would do that. And then because my brain doesn't go that way, but I'm learning to because I have people around me that are like, you can't say that. And I'm like, it's just a wet nurse. And it would turn into like, oh, well, wet nurses. But the thing is the history of wet nurses goes way beyond slavery, but that's what it would be. But I like it. Maybe a novella, extra content in my book, like in my newsletter or something, The Wet Nurse.
People would be like, "Where is the story?" They're gonna be asking you what it is.
I hope my mother-in-law doesn't listen to this.
As long as you tell her about it.
No.
Oh my God.
I gotta get my shit together here. What's going on? Oh, okay.
Sure.
But I already now you have inspired me for the next book at some point before I do announce the title to the next book. I think that we should have a guess the title something or like,
I love it.
I think we're gonna have a guess the title and somebody's gonna like win something if they guess the title. Like they'll get a really early copy of it or whatever, something like that. Because I want to hear more ideas. The fact that you came up with that means other people are going to, because the second that you say it's not a common thing or a position that something wealthier people would potentially have, I mean, yeah. I mean, and you came up with fluffer too, which is probably not something that I think like married couples, but maybe they do. I mean,
There's 2 novellas for you.
I know.
If you ran
The
out for like
Homemaker and side novellas, the fluff
Oh god, that's
and the
hilarious.
wetness.
if
Oh
we
my
actually
god.
see it on your Instagram, we'll be like, "Hey, she got that idea from us."
And sometimes, probably for certain guys, the wet nurse could be a fluffer.
I mean, dual positions. Oh gosh. I love it.
I love that later you guys are going to probably have to edit out the total. You're like, we got to cut this off before we get to the fluffer.
No, it's called Unfiltered Romance Nights. Unfiltered.
Yeah. I don't think we cut out
Oh,
any bloopers or anything. No.
yeah.
No,
Unfortunately, Marjorie's the editor.
So I don't cut out much.
the fluffer stain and the wet nurse.
They're staying.
There's that. Okay.
Oh.
So do you have any like as far as well when I forgot mine. Anyway. Colin, this is your fault. Now I'm a mess over here.
Okay, all right, let me pull it together. You pull yourself together. Okay? All right, here we go. Here we go. What's one feeling that you want readers to take away when they read this book?
A feeling to take away. Probably, gosh, I don't know. I think I want readers to come out of this feeling a little more open-minded to the gray areas of love.
Mhm.
I think any time that I write a story that might have a love triangle feel to it, I always hope to like guide readers down that road of just feeling open-minded or a little less judgmental. You know, there's so many people who say like, "Oh, if there's a love triangle or the idea of cheating or anything, I won't read it. I won't read it." And I think life is, that's when we talked about love hurting and love being more complicated than that. And I think maybe I used to say, oh, I think it's my age that I feel that way, but I don't, because I've really come across even people much younger than me that are just like, yeah, there's nothing simple about love. And there's a lot of gray areas and things. I think I wrote a book called When Life Happened, and it was because life happens. And when people get to the plot twist, they're like, I can't believe that happened. And I'm like, you didn't read the title, because when life happens, it's like, I mean, and that's what this is. There's like everything that happens in this book kind of like is nobody's to blame. Like even people who get hurt in the book, it's not, I mean, it is somebody's fault, but it's just a lot of circumstance. It's not that anybody set out to hurt anybody else. And so I hope I get enough readers that don't think they're going to like this book, that their best friend talks them into it, and that they come out of it and think, okay, yeah, there's some gray areas to love, but in the end, I think the characters handled it well, or, you know, and I hope they love the ending. I don't know. I love the ending so much. I just hope they love the ending because it was a controversial ending amongst the beta readers. So,
It was, but I was okay with it because everybody was happy. You know? Everybody kind of wasn't ideally what, but life happened and things, that's just the way it is. And I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I feel like everybody got there happily ever after.
Yeah, and it was and probably the way I say it was different than anything I've written before is yes and no is I wasn't actually keeping the couple in mind the most when deciding the ending. I felt like I was being unselfish with the ending, and I was doing what I would hope that people in their shoes would be able to bring out the best version of themselves to do. Oh, I love being bad. I love it because people are gonna be like, "What is she talking about?" Yeah,
Now you'll have to read it to find out.
you have
Right,
to know. Yeah, or you
exactly.
find out. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Um, so as far as new releases after this, what do you have like planned for the future, and then like special editions and signing events? Why are you laughing? I can't look at you when I'm like looking.
Well, we already know we have the we have the wet nurse and the fluffer coming.
We know that, and that'll probably just roll off the tongue.
We keep digging ourselves into
I know.
it.
We should take this show on the road. What do you think, ladies?
Let's see. I'm actually finishing. Let's see. I'm finishing up a book for Montlake. For anybody who read my Wildfire series, this is Will's story, and I have to turn that in soon. And then I have another two things out on submission, which if something comes of it, I could end up writing that. If something doesn't come of it, I'll still write it to indie publish it, but I won't write it next. I'll then just jump into the next book in this series. Special editions. I don't have any special editions. I have a Christmas short story novella that will be going out in an anthology with a group of other authors. And it's one that eventually that I'm hoping to actually turn into a full length novel for next Christmas, but we'll just see how the stars align. I have a signing in Texas. It's the Traveling Bookshelf here in less than 2 weeks. That's my last signing of the year. A friend of mine is one of the organizers, and she kind of roped me into it. I was like, I'm not going back to Texas for another signing. I've been to Texas 1 billion times. I'm done with going to. And I also just wasn't in the mood to travel again. But I adore her, so I'm doing this for her, and I think the readers will be a wonderful bonus because there's a lot of people there that I haven't gotten to meet yet that are going to be there. So I'm like, it'll all turn out. I always dread going to signings, and then after I go, I'm like, okay, I'm glad I went. I don't actually have any signings. I was going to be at the Minneapolis. There's a Minneapolis signing, the Bells in Minneapolis next year. I don't know for sure if I will actually be able to make it. They don't know that yet. Surprise. My middle child's getting married next year, the first part of June. And I have my youngest is graduating. So I have like a big year going on. Plus we're taking our youngest on a trip next summer. And I don't have any signings coming up, and I'm totally okay with that because meeting readers are amazing. Signings are exhausting in a way I can't even tell you. And again, maybe that's my age because I see some of these younger authors out there on the signing circuit, like Taylor Swift doing a tour or something. They're just bing, 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 and like they like go the distance. I go to one signing and I feel like I need a year to recover from it. It's a lot. So that's it. Nothing exciting. I'm just keeping with the theme. Nothing exciting is coming. Those novellas, of course.
Those novellas will be exciting.
Yeah, those are going to be good. I'll be looking out for those.
Mm-hmm.
I'll help promote them.
Covers are going to be for those.
Oh Lord. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. You, Jewel E. Ann, are one of a kind. No, it was so much fun. Honestly, I haven't laughed so hard in so long. I'm
We
glad you were able to make the time to meet with us, and it's a pleasure to celebrate your newest release, The Homemaker.
Thank you for having me, and it has been so fun. I needed this laughter. I told you I've had a rough summer. I needed this. So thank you, both of you, for this, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. We had fun and we can't wait to see the next books.
Neither.
And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to Unfiltered Romance Nights so you never miss an interview or book chat. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Unfiltered Romance Nights Podcast. You can DM us if there's an author you'd love to see or a topic you'd like to see us discuss. See you next time.
Until next time, keep your books spicy and nights unfiltered.